Hello everyone, myself MS Bhagavadiyammal, Assistant Professor, Department of Computer Science and Engineering, Rohini College of Engineering and Technology. Today we are going to discuss about the topic is CSS, that is Cascading Style Sheet. CSS Introduction. CSS is the language we use to style an HTML document. HTML is abbreviation of Hypertext Markup Language, and CSS describes how HTML elements should be displayed. Then CSS is the language we use to style a web page. Then what is CSS? CSS stands for Cascading Style Sheet. CSS describes how HTML elements are to be displayed on screen, paper, or in other media. Then CSS saves a lot of work. It is the advantages of CSS, and it can be control the layout of multiple web pages all at once. Then external style sheets are stored in CSS files. Then the file extension of CSS is .css. CSS has various levels and profiles. Each level of CSS builds upon the last, typically adding new features and typically denoted as CSS1, CSS2 and CSS3. The first CSS specification to become an official W3C recommendation is CSS Level 1, that is published in December 1996. Then CSS Level 2 was developed by the W3C and published as a recommendation in May 1998. A superset of CSS1, CSS2 includes a number of new capabilities like absolute, relative and fixed position of elements and Z index, the concept of media types, etc. Then the CSS3 is currently under development. The W3C maintains a CSS3 progress report. Next, understanding rule style. A rule style is composed as a part of declaration and selector. Here the selector indicates the element to which the rule is applied, and the declaration it determines the property values of selector. Here we given one example. If the selector is th means the property of color and the property value is red. These are the part color and red is the declaration. Already we discussed about selector and declaration. Here we mention the property and value. The property of selector B is color and the value of selector B is red. CSS declarations always end with semicolon, and the declaration groups are surrounded by curly brackets. Here I given one example. Already we discussed about the selector property and value. Here the selector is P and the properties are color and text align. The values are red and center. CSS more readable. You can put one declaration on each line like this. Check this program. Already I given that same program in one line, then I rewrite the same problem or same program in one by one. Next we go to discuss about CSS commands. A CSS command begin with inside the double quotes /* and end with */. The command lines are not executed, so we will give the command line inside the program or outside the program. The command line is used for user understanding. We will give any commands related to our program. Next we go to discuss about ID and class selector. In addition to setting a style for a HTML element, CSS allows you to specify your own selector, that is called as ID and class selector. First we go to discuss about the ID selector. ID selector is used to specify a single and unique element. Then the ID selector is defined with the hash symbol. Then the style rule below will be applied to the element with ID equal to your ID name. Here I mentioned the ID selector as para 1. Next one is class selector. The class selector is used to specify a style for a group of elements, unlike the ID selector. Already I discussed about ID selector. ID selector is used to as a single or unique element, but the class selector is used to apply for a group of elements. This is the difference between ID and class selector. Then the class selector is most often used on several elements. This allows you to set a particular style for any HTML elements with the same class. The class selector uses the HTML class attribute and is defined with a dot symbol. In this example, the selector is v dot sender. Here the dot sender is mentioned as the class selector. This will apply for the property text align and the value of the property is sender. There are three ways to insert cascading style sheet, that is external style sheet, internal style sheet and inline style sheet. First we go to discuss about external style sheet. With an external style sheet, you can change the look of an entire website by changing just one file. Each HTML page must include a reference to the external style sheet file inside the link element and inside the header section. Here the link defines the relationship between current document and an external source. Here I give one example. In external styles are defined with the link element inside the header section of an HTML page. Here rel is an attribute. It specifies the relations between current document and linked document. Then href equal to we mention mystyle.css. This is the file name. Href is an attribute. It specifies the location of the linked document. An external style sheet can be written in any text editor and must be saved with a .css extension. The external .css file should not contain any HTML tag. Here we will give the mystyle.css file that looks body tag. Inside the body tag we mention the properties background color and the values light blue. Inside the h1 tag we mention the properties or color and margin left and the values are navy and 20 pixel. This is the output of external CSS file. Please check this output. And the next one is internal style sheet. Internal style sheet may be used if one single HTML page has a unique style. The internal style is defined inside the style element and inside the header section. For this below example, we given the body tag and h1 tag inside the style tag. Refer this program. And this is the output of internal cascading style sheet. In internal cascading style sheet, we given the code inside the style tag. Next one is inline style. An inline style may be used to apply a unique style for a single element. To use inline style, add the style attribute to the relevant element. The style attribute can contain any CSS property. Inline styles are defined with style attribute of the relevant element. Already I given one example. Here I mentioned inside the h1 tag we are giving the style attribute color :blue and text align :center. Here the values of blue and center and the properties are color and text align. As per the code we will get the output look like. This is the output of inline cascading style sheet. Next we go to discuss about advantages of CSS. CSS saves the time. When most of us learn HTML, we get taught to set the font face, size, color, style, etc. every time it occurs on a page. This means we find ourselves typing or copying or pasting the same thing over and over again with CSS. You only have to specify these details once for any element. CSS will automatically apply the specified styles whenever the element occurs. The next advantages is pages load faster. Less code means faster download times. Then easy maintenance. To change the style of an element, you only have to make the maintenance is very easy. Next, the disadvantages of CSS. Browser compatibility. That means browser have varying levels of compliance with style sheet. This means that some style sheet features are supported and some aren't. To confuse things more, some browser manufacturers decide to come up with their own proprietary tags. Thank you, students. I hope you all are understand very well. Thank you so much.